what do I do for work? So I'm a ticketed scaffolder here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, which it gets sticky because scaffolding is not considered a Red Seal trade. It's more of a support or sub-trade, if you will. So what does that mean? We're not Red Seal. We're not really acknowledged or recognized as a real trade. So because of my tendon, I tore my tricep tendon here about a month ago. You can hear my dog running around upstairs. I'm currently not able to scaffold. I'm barely even able to pick up a bottle of water with this hand. So besides doing OnlyFans to basically support or pay my bills and whatnot, scaffolding is what I do for a living. I've been scaffolding consistently, or steadily, if you will, since 2011. Before that, I was on service rigs, singles and doubles. I worked on rod rigs. I did a little bit of well testing and a little bit of insulation, and then I did a pre-employment program in welding. I got into welding first, but my eyes hated it. It was really uncomfortable. I felt like it strained the living crap out of my eyes. I was getting welder's flash all the time. It was really uncomfortable. I apologize for spitting. But my dream job out of high school, I had two things I really wanted to pursue. The first being the military here in Canada, or the army, I should say, to be more proper or exact. So I wanted to join the army, not because I wanted to necessarily shoot anyone or get involved into gunfights, but I wanted brotherhood. I wanted unity. I didn't care about going to war and being a war hero and crap. That wasn't the appealing part to me. I wanted brotherhood. I wanted unity. And I think I wanted that because I was the older child in the family, but from all the traumas I had experienced between being sexually assaulted, my struggles with addiction at a young age, abandonment from my father and my stepfather, from seeing so much neglect and abuse in my life, I wanted a bigger sense of purpose besides myself. I wanted to feel like I belonged to something, and all I ever had was me and my mom and my brother, which I will forever be grateful for. But ultimately, I wanted to be the best part of me. I wanted to know that other people depended on me, and I wanted to find out who I was, like, who is Quentin. So in high school, I took the very bare minimum to graduate. I knew immediately in high school I was going to join the army. There was no question, no ifs, ands, or buts. That is exactly what I was going to do. So I take the application process, I do it, I get a phone call. I answer the phone, there's a couple of questions. When can you come to Edmonton? I lived in Grand Prairie, Alberta at the time. I'm an Alberta boy through and through. I have always lived in Alberta, with the brief little period of living in British Columbia for about a couple of months, maybe half a year, let's say. So the phone process is done. I drive up to Edmonton. I get there, and almost immediately, one of the first questions I was asked if I had any food allergies, to which I responded, yes, I am allergic to gluten. I am celiac. I have celiac disease. I am pretty much a big pussy. To which they responded, sorry, your application process will be going no further because we cannot guarantee you what you will eat out in the field. It wasn't even to the point where they looked at any of the tattoos I had. And at that point, I was still pretty young. I didn't have a lot of tattoos, but I was told no. That shit broke me. Like, that was the one thing I looked most forward to in my entire life at that point in time. That was the only sense of purpose, like the only direction I had in my life was I'm going to the army. That's all I wanted. So when I was told no, that shit shattered me. I had no idea what direction I wanted to go in next. I knew I always loved working out. I loved the gym. That was always a fun place for me. That was a great place. I felt like I could challenge myself and constantly move forward or better myself, it wasn't the army, but it was a step below. Whether I wanted to potentially one day compete, maybe like in a bodybuilding competition, or maybe CrossFit even, which I don't even think I ever heard of CrossFit at that time, or maybe a powerlifting show of some sort. I was competitive. I wanted to be competitive. I wanted to better myself. I wanted to push myself. So I go to the college at the time, and I go to inquire about what I need to become a personal trainer. Well, I fucked around all of high school. I took the bare minimums to graduate, and I was told no. Unless I want to sit there and upgrade and do all this fucking extra shit, I was not going to be able to go into becoming a personal trainer anytime soon. So that's how I got into the oil and gas sector. I jumped around from a couple different jobs. I got into welding. Welding wasn't fun. I got into roughnecking for a few summers during high school, and I liked it. It was tough on my body, but I really liked rod rigs. And so shortly after high school, I go and join a service rig. It was my first time being on a double. I fucking hated it. It was much harder work than being on a rod rig, even though rod rigs are a little more fast-paced. Everything was much fucking heavier. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. So I did that for a little while, and I ended up getting a phone call to get into scaffolding. Scaffolding is just a glorified laborer's position in the carpentry family. Right? You have roofing, you have concrete, housing, like lots of parts of housing. It's all under an umbrella of carpentry. So I get a phone call, and I was asked if I wanted to go try this out. They told me how much I was going to make, and I said, fuck yeah, let's do it. So scaffolding, we build temporary safe work platforms at heights for other individuals not to have to tie off or wear a safety harness while in the air. And I use the word temporary. Everything we build does not stay up forever. It at some point will come down. I started somewhere in 2011, I believe. It is 2022, almost 2023. So I've been doing that for 10 years, 11 years, I think now. Math, not my best subject. So I've done that not even on and off, pretty much steady since then. And in my time of scaffolding, I found that sense of unity, brotherhood, companionship, if you will, or camaraderie, through scaffolding. And in a lot of ways, scaffolding came with a lot of pros and a lot of cons for me. So when I say pros, I developed amazing friendships in the trades. I developed amazing friendships in scaffolding. And I have many, many amazing mentors that I have been so lucky and fortunate to work with over the years, who have taught me everything I know, and then some. Whether it was from the time I was a first year up till my journeyman, or from journeyman going to lead hand, job steward, or even a foreman or working foreman. I have been very fortunate throughout my entire career, or blessed if you will, to have the people who have mentored me throughout my entire apprenticeship or my entire career. So I have done that now, like I said, for 11 years. Yeah, math. Ugh. But the cons of scaffolding for me. So most scaffolding companies will pay you weekly. I never learned to budget. I never learned anything about savings because I always knew Thursday or Friday there was a paycheck coming in, and I would spend my money hand over fist. It was gone just as fast, if not faster, than I was making it. I would even pre-spend my money, as you can see. So there was that. I also found that a lot of my brothers and sisters in scaffolding had their demons as well. And like-minded people hang out with like-minded people. Meaning my issues and my struggles with substances, whether it was cocaine, alcohol, MDMA, especially MDMA. But we'll just leave it very, very vague for now. But I found that it only fast-tracked my use, whether it was excessive smoking, excessive drinking, or excessive drug use. That was one of the biggest downfalls in my career besides not being able to save money, is I struggled with addiction. For the most part, I never really did drugs or drink at work. It was very, very fucking rare that I would do it. I just felt like it was taboo for work. I wasn't that bad of an addict, if you will, and I was pretty good about staying away from it when it came to work. So in my terms and definitions at the time, I didn't think I was that bad of an addict until I can look back at everything now and take a good look at it and be like, yeah, you were an addict. You were just a different level of functioning addict. So there is that. Why I choose not to continue to scaffold anymore is different, though. It's not because I don't want to be around those people. I have control. It doesn't bother me. What they choose to do on their spare time is up to them. And I'm not saying all scaffolders are like this. That is not the case. Every job you will go to, everywhere, it doesn't matter where you are in life, there is someone somewhere who struggles with an addiction. That is just a fucking given. As far as I'm concerned, someone somewhere, whether they're good at masking it or they're just blatantly out in the open not giving a fuck, somebody somewhere does struggle with an addiction of some sort. Why I want out of scaffolding, though, it changed. So when I got into scaffolding, I started with the union, local 1325, United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Allied Workers. A few things that happened throughout my career that changed my view or my opinion on being union. I have worked the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Allied Workers. I have worked CLAC, CLAC. I have worked for CMA. I have worked Merit. I have worked for mom and pops open shop companies. I have scaffolded everywhere that I could work at this point in my career. I will say I learned more about scaffolding when it comes to being a union member working non-union in my apprenticeship than I did being union. Now that can also vary depending where you work, but that's besides the point. As my time with scaffolding has changed, or gone on I should say, scaffolding has changed in many ways. The brotherhood that is there is less. Not saying that people don't stick out or stick up for each other and stick together, but those individuals are no longer the people that were on the tools when I was on the tools. They have all gone into supervisor positions, management, or even further up the chain. They are no longer on the tools. The things that have changed, though, with a lot of companies is a lot of people, it's not the people that I worked with, but in my experience, a lot of these companies do not care about us, about the workforce. And it sucks. And it has literally ruined the experience, the fun, the pleasure of scaffolding for me. Because it's not always a bad time. It can be fun. It's just the politics at work. It's just how some companies will treat you like a fucking number in a revolving door. You have a bad week at work, let's say. Real life shit happens. A family emergency, maybe a death in the family. Some of these companies are so quick to give you a layoff and replace you, regardless of your seniority or how long you've been with the company or how well someone knows you. It doesn't matter. And I'm not about that. I actually despise that shit. That's why I don't like working for really big scaffolding companies anymore. So that is a big reason why I'm not wanting to go back to scaffolding. I still love it. I miss it. Like, I am a fucking scaffolder at heart. I have a huge family in scaffolding. And when I say family, I mean brothers and sisters, people who I have been working side by side for years, people who I have developed relationships with for years. I will always have that brotherhood, that sisterhood, that unity, that camaraderie, if you will, with those individuals. I will always love them, always care for them. Scaffolding will always have a special place in my heart. But my own mental health, my own well-being, and my own sanity is worth more to me than having a company try and put their thumb down on me and make me feel like me coming first and taking care of myself doesn't matter, that the company should always come first. Now, the company would come first if more companies actually gave a fuck about their employees, and unfortunately, a lot of them don't. So if I have to go back to scaffolding, I will go back to scaffolding. There's nothing against it. I love it. I love a lot of people I work with. There's a handful of companies and a handful of places I do not care to go back to, which I will keep this fucking shut. In the scaffolding world, you know which companies I'm talking about. You know which fucking job sites I'm talking about. So, if I can find another way to pursue what I want to pursue and make it a reality, then I am going to try. And worst case, if it doesn't fucking work, it doesn't work. I feel more accomplished saying, at least I tried. Maybe I didn't make it on the first attempt. Maybe I didn't make it on the second or the third attempt. But at least I tried. And it takes a lot more of a person to admit that they failed trying rather than saying they never gave an attempt. And that's what I'm doing with my social media. Whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, OnlyFans, or even YouTube, I'm giving it a go. Because I'll never know if I don't try. And I don't want to have that regret of not trying. Because worst case, I can always go back to the trades. Worst case, I can always go back oil and gas. I'm never limited to one thing. But it doesn't hurt to step outside of my realm, my normal, and try. And if you think it's easy, I will be the first to admit among many, it's not. Social media scares the living fuck out of me because there's no consistency, there's no guarantee that I will break it and potentially do well in it. With Monday to Friday, 40 hours a week, I know as a scaffolder I'll make $1,200. 50 hours, I know I'll make about 55. 60 hours, about $6,500, and it just keeps climbing. I know the numbers because I've been doing it so long. I know on 40 hours a week I will make in a week paycheck about $1,200 on a higher end, but about 11 something. The most I've ever made in a week is about $5,400 scaffolding. So the money is good, but that doesn't mean every job is like that. It fucking varies from job to job. So can I always go out to scaffolding? Yes. Is the money good in scaffolding? Absolutely. The money is good in the trades. The money is good in oil and gas. The money can be good if you're willing to put the work in. And I'm hoping, and I'm trying to be positive and believe that if I put the work in, and if I put the effort in, that I will see the return in social media. For example, today, I made one YouTube video. I wasn't going to make a second video, but that would be lazy of me to not make more content. And I need to make more content. I need to constantly make content for all my social medias and stay on top of it and stay relevant. And that's where the struggle comes. That's when it becomes a real battle. My husky's downstairs with me. So that is what I do. I am a journeyman scaffolder. I've been scaffolding for a little while now. And on the side, I do OnlyFans. And I am currently working on building my social media up. And maybe one day look at building a merchandise or a merch line. Once again, my name's Quentin. If you liked the video, by all means, hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment if you like this, or if you relate to this, or you understand what I'm saying. And as always, if you want to follow me, please feel free to subscribe to me. If not, I thank you for at least watching the video. And I hope you all have a wonderful day or night. So thank you.